I know. I'm thinking the same exact thing that you are. Not another Verlisify hacking video, but honestly, we need to get serious right now. We have a new Pokemon game coming out in a couple months, but the biggest thing, we have a new Pokemon game on a new console coming out next year. If we do not get our act together about Pokemon legitimacy by then, it is done. Competitive Pokemon will die. Now, you might be thinking that I'm blowing this out of proportion, but how can we have a serious competitive scene if there's this big of a rift between hacking and not hacking, and it gets more and more muddled every day? We have the Pokemon Trades Reddit. Pokemon Trades Reddit, they promote themselves as the only super official Reddit for trading legitimate Pokemon, but that could not be further from the truth, and we see that get more and more muddled every day, and that's one thing I want to address. That because the Pokemon Company, don't worry, Pokemon Company is at fault as well. This might be a long video, but I want to try to get as many points as I can. The Pokemon Company, they need to hard define what is and is not allowed, because there's still a lot of gray areas, and because of that, we even have like these places that are trying to promote themselves as an authority on legitimacy, allowing illegal hacked Pokemon, hacked items, and just all kinds of really sketchy stuff. So they say, differs from other trading communities because only Pokemon that are legal and legitimate are allowed to be traded. However, they still have this. They still have the gray area. They still hide behind the veil that hackers use to hide behind. There is no such thing as legal but modified, but a lot of people say that. There's only legitimate, and then there's hacked. There's legal and illegal, and I don't think that this legal doesn't need to be here. You define it as two things, so right now you're just making it even more confusing, even though they're trying to be a bit more concise about it and really define what is going on. Some things they do get right. It's legal if it's never been modified, never been copied, and only through an official, unmodified game. That's really all that there should be to it. But then we have these specific cases. Allowed with disclosure, allowed without disclosure. Hacked items are allowed without disclosure. So you're allowed to hack without disclosure. Zygarde cells are allowed to be hacked. So what that means, and there's actually a forum post about this. I got the cells by cloning a Zygarde from 6th generation and then disabling the clones. It's actually from 7 months ago, because with Pokemon Sun and Moon, this became a recent issue, and we actually had a mod say the cells themselves are functionally items for all intents and purposes. When the Zygardes reassemble, a new PID is rolled. So you can hack in 100 Zygarde, deconstruct them, and then make 100 new Zygarde only existing because of the use of hacking, but they're all legitimate according to the Pokemon trades. That absolutely blows my mind. And then they're coming in and then saying that no virtual console glitches are allowed at all. Can't use Trainer Fly, can't use Mew Glitch, can't do anything that results in what would otherwise be a legitimate Pokemon because of glitches. But the Pokemon Company, they left it in the virtual console. They allow you to transfer these, but they have not made a statement about it. And they've also kind of been against other things, Breeding hacked parents, that's actually another one. In the policy, using hacked parents to produce legal offspring. That is allowed, even though the Pokemon Company, I don't understand. That immediately becomes illegitimate. Pokemon Company has made an official statement saying that hacked parents are not allowed to be used for VGC. They do not, any Pokemon that is done that way is illegal. But that's actually allowed without disclosure. Also allowed with disclosure. RNG abuse. Pokemon Company is against RNG abuse. It's also using an external program, and that if you want to get really purist about it, this method would not exist without modifying save files, data modification, data mining, all kinds of silliness like that. So a lot of these things, using flashcards and emulators, that's I don't understand how that's okay. Even with the disclosure, no, you shouldn't have to disclose anything because it's black and white. It's legitimate or it's illegitimate, and it shouldn't be that much of a problem in between. But that's where we get into it. It's bias. The mods, the community, it's bias. It's not what's truly allowed and disallowed by the Pokemon Company. It's what we think, or what they think, should be allowed. Using hacked parents with legal attributes for easier breeding. 51% say tolerable, but apparently tolerable means in favor, so automatically passes. Less than 1/3 of the people actually think it's legitimate. Look at some of these, disparities right here. No, it's still allowed because, according to one of their own mods, right here, our policy is written to encompass a wide variety of views on legitimacy. How do you have a view on something that's black and white? You can't go, well, that gray is a little more black, so I guess that means it's allowed. No, it's not how it works. Not how it works. That way we can cater a large amount of users. Again, that's not how it works. And those who have a stricter view can simply avoid what they don't like. Not how it works. At the very least, we hope that those who have different views can respect other people and enjoy the game differently. You sound exactly like a hacker. Mr. Mod of the Legitimacy Pokemon Reddit. Can't do that, then maybe we're not the ones with a problem. So implying that I have a problem because this is in response to me. Because I kind of like, you know, pointed out all the flaws with this. And we're going to get into all this later. I pointed out a lot of flaws. Mod got mad at me and was like, you know, that's some hella passive aggressiveness right there. My goodness. I can feel that all the way just sitting in my chair from wherever this person is typing it from the keyboard. So, apparently if I can't respect that other people enjoy the game differently. But hackers, this is the same exact argument that hackers use, you know. I'm enjoying myself. Actually, hackers will use this to shame legitimate players. And now a legitimate mod is using this to shame me. Don't understand that at all. Because they'll say, I'm actually smarter. Hackers will say, I'm better than you because I have a social life. I'm not wasting my time playing a stupid kids game. I'm the one that's saving hours of my life. I'm making the right decision by cheating. Hackers legitimately say that, and they legitimately put down legitimate players. I know I just use legitimately a lot, but that's how it is because they enjoy the game differently. And they'll say, hey, don't hate on me for cheating the game. I'm just enjoying my game differently, even though it's still against the rules. Also, I got massively downvoted. Like, a lot of people, they had, like, comments removed and they got banned and stuff because they were treating me like crap as well. I don't understand. I'm, like, the biggest force of positivity and legitimacy in the community, but then people, they respond just so negatively and just towards me wanting legitimacy as well. And this is in response. So, yeah, this policy right here, no VC glitches are allowed. They also kind of made it to where other glitches that were allowed are no longer allowed because they just say no VC glitches. Just blanketing. No glitches are allowed, but you can still hack in items, which is against the VGC rules. VGC rules say no modified or edited Pokemon and items. So they go strictly against Pokemon. The official rules, the game developer rules. Who decides this is legitimate? Pokemon Company decides it's legitimate, not these guys. But they act like an authority, even though they're directly going against Pokemon Company. Absolutely blows my mind. So apparently, Trainer Flag glitch, using the cloning glitch. Cloning, that's actually a gray area. Pokemon Company, they've been against cloning, and they've been punishing other kinds of things. Like, you know, if you use the cloning on the GTS, or you use the trade cloning glitch, you can get timed out, so they tried to patch that out. You know, they've patched out other glitches, but they did not patch out cloning Gold and Silver, so you have to try to figure out what makes it ban-worthy versus not ban-worthy. Cloning a Pokemon Gold and Silver. Still takes a little bit of time, still completely manual, not a modified save, programmed into the game naturally, and still allowed by the Poke Transporter, but also, you can't clone a competitive Pokemon. You can't clone items in that way. But you can with the 7th generation trade glitches, 6th, 5th generation, all those trade glitches, as well as actually modifying your saves and stuff. So it's not as hardcore as the actual hacking and save modification. So that's where we get into the gray area, I feel. Now this is where it gets silly. Like, this mod is just incompetent, you know? So this doesn't really change anything from a practical perspective, even though it changes something drastically. That Trainer Flag Glitch Pokemon were allowed before this change, but now all Trainer Flag Glitch Pokemon are disallowed, even if it's a simple Pokemon. So you could have traded a Trainer Flag Glitch Pidgey in Red, Blue, Yellow. So apparently, even a mundane Pokemon, this method is now forbidden, even though it wasn't. So it seems like your idea of what is legal and legitimate is very fluid. And that's not good when you're trying to have something that determines legitimacy or tries to promote legitimacy inside of a community. Plus, if that Pidgey turned out to be shiny, it would be illegal. No, that's not objective in any way. This is your subjective take on it to try to prove your point, even though you're completely wrong, which few people know. It's not intentionally shiny locked, but due to the way the game generates shiny wild Pokemon, not possible. True. That is true right there, because the way that random numbers work, you cannot encounter a wild shiny Pokemon in Gen 2, but it is a stationary encounter. And apparently Trainer Flag Glitch Pokemon counts as a stationary encounter. So that means it's a stationary encounter method. That doesn't mean you're like modifying a wild Pokemon encounter, so I don't understand how if it was shiny it would be illegal, because it's technically not possible to. It's just strange justifications. Like, this guy's reaching super hard, and it makes absolutely no sense. Let's go on to my comments. So, what about the shiny Ditto glitch that you can breed shinies? If you're referring to Gen 1 Transform, that's considered a game mechanic, as opposed to an actual glitch. You are wrong. You are about as wrong as it can get in this situation. No, that is a glitch, 100%. No one refers to it as the IV Ditto copying mechanic. It's the Ditto glitch. It's the Transform glitch. Everyone counts as a glitch because you can even look at the coding flags for it. That if a Pokemon transforms and then transforms again, the game only assumes that Ditto could do that through some weirdness, so to prevent the game from crashing, it just spits out a Ditto. So when you're doing that, you're actually creating a new Pokemon inside of that battle, technically. And then when that Ditto comes out, it copies the thing that it transformed, and that's a glitch. That is an unexpected quirk of whatever shenanigans are going on. It was not programmed. You know, that's a mechanic is something intentionally put into a game. There is nothing intentionally put in saying, well, if this trainer is smart enough to transform with to mimic transform, to have transform and transform, we're rewarding that player with a Ditto that is exactly like the Pokemon they used to battle it. No, it is 100% a crazy unexpected occurrence, which is classified as a glitch. But because you like it, you think it's okay, you think it's cool, you think it works with everything that you think legitimacy is, therefore, it's okay. Even though it's a glitch, and literally 5 seconds ago, in this exact post, you have said all glitches are banned, even things like Trainer Fly, even though this is literally cloning a Ditto inside of the battle and then spitting out a new Ditto. Even though this is duplicating the Ditto through some weird game mechanics and spitting out a completely new Pokemon inside of the battle, or after the battle ends when the Pokemon's caught. So I say this, Reddit hasn't made sense for years, just bias and cherry picking instead of breaking down the issues. Gen 1 Transform is classified as a glitch. I also state the Pokemon Company is against breeding Dittos. Breeding Dittos in quotes right here. So this is the breeding Dittos. These are 6IV Dittos. Breeding Dittos are hacked. There is no way around it. 6IV Dittos used for breeding, those are hacked. The odds behind it, also giving up your, 6IV Ditto that takes hundreds of hours to obtain, that's absolutely stupid. So breeding Dittos, those are even in the Pokemon trades community, even the Reddit. But the mods like it. The mods think it's convenient. Therefore, going against Pokemon Company is okay right here. Also, hacking in Zygarde, and then creating legal Pokemon, other glitches that are allowed to make legal Pokemon, all that's okay. But the thing that you don't like is against, I actually feel like this post is actually against me, I made my video talk about cloning, and then kind of going in my thing about the virtual console glitches, as well as doing first generation glitches as well, and it seems like the mods have some kind of animosity towards me, that I was in this thread as well, so mods don't like me here on Pokemon Trades, because I said, but with the Zygarde thing, you're literally allowing a hacked Pokemon, and then I got in an argument with one of the mods. Here, this kind of seems like immediately after my update, they're like, yeah, we're gonna shut out what Verlisify said. Maybe this post wasn't inspired completely by that, but I feel like there's a little bit of that undertone, especially with how the mod kind of came back at me, because remember, this is hella passive-aggressive, but also, if we wrote the legitimacy policy based solely on what we like, I imagine it would not have taken months to discuss. This is the dumbest sentence I've ever read in the Pokemon community. So just because it took time, apparently everything they do is proper. Even though they're going against Pokemon Company, because it took them time, everything is, it's also like, it's literally based on solely what you like. You like to cater to a larger amount of users. You like to be subjective and not have a strict view. A strict view are the rules. Rules, being a judge, making judgment, that is about a strict view. But no. Like, you literally contradict yourself right here because you're backed into a corner and you can't justify allowing hacking on your legitimate thread and then changing something you don't like. You don't like this, but there's nothing stopping it from being allowed and stuff. And also, we can kind of go through this, everyone's being extremely hostile towards you, so this isn't a response to mine. You're completely right. The policy is messy and imperfect. And this is why we need discussion, guys. This is why we need to look at it, because if you ask 10 different people what Pokemon legitimacy is about, like if you gave them this survey, you get 11 different responses. It wouldn't even have to be as detailed. Like, this is a long thing. But I mean, even if you just gave people like a couple of simple questions, you would get everything on the spectrum, from the hacker that thinks as long as Pokemon are completely possible in game, it's okay, to the purist that is like, no glitches, no nothing. It's the most hardcore, longest way of obtaining the Pokemon is the only thing that's true and allowed. No skips, no little shortcuts. You can only do it just like that. And then we have, like, the Pokemon Trades Reddit, that we agree and disagree on things. I'm against using hacked parents to breed legitimate offspring. They're against using glitches that have been allowed by the Pokemon Company to pass through with the Pokemon Bank. So that's where we need to figure out, and that's where the Pokemon Company comes in. Pokemon Company, they're a joke right now. They're a joke because they are not cracking down. We have all these issues. We have all this thing. We have an authority. We have someone that's trying to pass themselves off as an authority for Pokemon legitimacy, and they're just making up the rules. There's nothing legitimate or official about the Pokemon Trades Reddit. Pokemon Company is also allowing world champions to use hacked Pokemon. They are hiring players that have used hacked Pokemon in the past, and they just don't address it. They just kind of brush it off. They don't come down as to what glitches are and are not allowed, and there is such a thing as allowing certain glitches and disallowing it. Glitches are gray area. I've already said that with like how I clone in Gen 2 and stuff, but when it comes to glitches, I think boosting in CS:GO is the best way to look at it. Some boosts are allowed, some boosts are disallowed. They don't ban boosting entirely, and they don't just patch it out of the game, because, hey, it's actually a cool mechanical thing, that if you can boost into the right area, get a little bit of advantage, diversifies the strategy. Also, it's not unfair to the person being boosted against, because now it's like, oh, they might be boosting, so I can just peek that area and get a free kill, or if they're boosting over there, that means they're not covering that side over there, so we might be able to have a different strategy. It increases diversity, and when it comes to certain glitches, it's an equalizer. You know, it helps just a little bit more. It's a little bit more of an edge compared to the hackers. Instead of it taking a longer time, we get a slight little bit to catch up with the people that are already hacking the game. That's also on the Pokemon Company. Not a good enough hack check. Big problem right there. Not punishing hackers enough. Big problem right there. And then also just kind of having this gray area. And then, you know, letting Pokemon players cheat. You know, if they crack down on hackers, they remove hacking, they lose most of their competitive scene, but their competitive scene is meaningless with so many hackers being allowed. So, I mean, I always say that, but I mean, again, it's not completely against Pokemon trades, not completely against hackers. Blame does fall on Pokemon Company. I admit this. I am okay with that, because the Pokemon Company, if they don't do something about it, you know, I'm okay if the Pokemon Company says something I turn out being wrong, because that's where it begins. Pokemon legitimacy begins right there with Pokemon Company, and they need to do it now. We adjust in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, we fully apply it in Pokemon 2016 on the Switch version, and then Pokemon will be legit, it'll be alive, and then people won't be suspicious. Like right now, you go on Battle Spot, can't tell. You look at Fan Fridays, can't tell. More than half players in Pokemon hack, if not exactly half or something like that. You know, you look at someone's like, you can never assume the opponent is completely legitimate. That's because of this. They've been on Pokemon trades, there's a chance they're not legitimate. No, the breeding hatched parents. Also, if you're on Pokemon trades, PK Hex is so good, hacking is so good, that if they're a hacker, you know, I can't trust a hacker to be honest. You can't trust a cheater to be honest. So they could just be trading hatched Pokemon on here. Sure, some of them get caught and banned and stuff, but you know, every once in a while, maybe someone hops on, hacks a couple Pokemon, trades them around. No one knows, can't detect it, and that's kind of the attitude around Pokemon trades. They say that right here, cells themselves are functionally items for all intents and purposes, so since you can't detect it, no point. So yeah, it's just too wide of a spectrum right now, and this needs to be fixed, or else Pokemon's just going to get worse and worse, and then people are somehow going to blame that on me, even though I just want legitimacy. It's a mess right now, guys, and I think I've kind of said everything I need to. Might have to touch up on these videos again as we get more and more information and stuff, but it's kind of sad that we see like a legitimate community just promoting a lot of garbage, and then still hacking gets worse and worse, and then there's a gray area, and the Pokemon Company ain't helping us by introducing these virtual console glitches and stuff. So guys, enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.